Oh, and it's finally time for the big one. Welcome to Gulfstream Park on Florida Derby Saturday. Matt Bernier alongside Joaquin Jaime. We are trackside here in Hallandale Beach, Florida. We've got 14 on tap. The first one's only about 29 minutes away, Joaquin. But all eyes, all roads lead to Louisville through race 14. It's the Grade 1 Florida Derby.
And this is the third race in the series for 3-year-olds leading into the Florida Derby. We had Nearly, who won the Holy Bull Stakes. He's been out of sight, out of mind. We have not seen him since that win 8 weeks ago. And you also have your top two finishers from last month in the Fountain of Youth, which was won by Commandment. Chief Wallaby was second in there. And then you have the Puma, who went across the state, won the Tampa Bay Derby as a maiden. Now he comes back here to Hallandale Beach, and he's looking for back-to-back graded stakes wins. Small field, but a good field.
We'll do a deeper dive into the Florida Derby in a few moments, but let's take a look at all the stakes races coming up here this afternoon at Gulfstream Park. It starts early, hot and heavy all throughout the afternoon. Race number 3 is going to be the first stakes event of the afternoon. That's the Cutler Bay on the turf, and you go right on through. The Ghost Sapper is one that's going to be very interesting to take a look at. The Gulfstream Park Oaks, where you've got Kentucky Oaks points on the line. That's in race number 9. You can see as we continue on our way to the Grade 1 Curlin Florida Derby, $1 million on the line. More importantly, 100 qualifying points to the winner, 50 to the runner-up, 25 to third. Again, we mentioned it last week. There's a scenario in which a few of these horses get into the starting gate the first Saturday in May.
And we'll take a look at the road to get here to the Florida Derby. Mentioned back in January and late January, Nearly won his very first graded stakes race, won the Holy Bull. The following month, Commandment took down the Fountain of Youth. He earned 50 points to the Kentucky Derby. Chief Wallaby was second. That was his stakes debut and only a second career start. Nearly, Commandment, Chief Wallaby, all back here in the $1 million Curlin Florida Derby.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We know the Arkansas Derby's later on this afternoon. We know next weekend is a big one with the Bluegrass, Santa Anita Derby, Wood Memorial. This may not be the biggest of those fields as far as size goes. I don't know what else you could ask for from a quality standpoint.
Now let's focus in on the scratches for just 1 second. The 5 Redland Rebel, that was an anticipated scratch, but he was a gelding that had a lot of speed.
He's running in Arkansas.
He's running in Arkansas, but he's not running in Florida. But from a pace standpoint, he's a major defection here. And so is the 9 Gregarious, who was a maiden in here. He showed speed in his debut. He's out of here. So the 5 and 9 scratching, the ones also scratched for Riley Mott, but the 5 and 9 major defections out of here from a pace standpoint.
Yeah, and that kind of circles the 6 Nearly as maybe the pacemaker in this race. We'll talk about him in a moment, but you want to talk about the quality that's going to be showing up in this afternoon's Florida Derby. Take a look at the 3-year-old buyers that we've seen in 2026, and take a look at some of the names that are involved in here. Commandment's right at the top along with Chief Wallaby. They ran 1-2 in that Fountain of Youth. Nearly is 4th on that list with his number that he earned in the Holy Bull. So, again, you effectively have 3 of the 4 fastest 3-year-olds running here this afternoon.
Looking forward to it. Race number 14. And for Nearly, that was his first start, going 2 turns at 1 mile and a 16th. We'll dive into the Holy Bull in just a moment. Let's go to the Fountain of Youth and look at the top 2 finishers here. It was Commandment cutting the corner down on the inside in the red cap with Irad Ortiz on this day. Flavian Pratt will hop aboard for the first time this afternoon. And then you also have Chief Wallaby, who had to make an early move a couple different times down the backstretch, wide on the far turn, and he just misses here by a neck. Bang up race by both these horses coming out of the Fountain of Youth.
The 2 things you need to separate with those 2 runners. Do you want to give Chief Wallaby the benefit of the doubt because it was his first time against winners, first time 2 turns, a number of other things? Or do you give Commandment the benefit of the doubt because, according to our colleagues down here all meeting, the inside part on the main track's not where you wanted to be, and he still made his move up the inside?
So I don't know how to interpret both of those because you want to give credit for both performances, and in a way, they both overcame disadvantages. Yes. Chief Wallaby, start 2, wide on the first turn, very wide on the far turn. Commandment, not on the part of the racetrack that you've wanted to be over the last, say, 2 months or so. Yep. I don't know which one you would favor over the other in this particular spot, but I think you give each one extra credit for their performances those days.
We've already talked about Nearly. We'll talk about him more in a little bit because he could be the pacemaker in this race. If you're looking for the 4th of the big 4, it's probably the Puma, who will be the outside draw in this race. He is the 8 horse. He's 9-2 on the morning line for trainer Gustavo Delgado. And if anybody in this race, there are a number of connections that know how to win the first Saturday in May. Look no further than Gustavo Delgado in this group along with the Puma.
The Kentucky Derby is the reference as the biggest race that you want to win. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's just crazy, the impact that the race has worldwide.
Mage has taken the lead here as they come into the final 16.
I don't think there is a single day you don't think about it. I gotta be honest with you. It's a lot of ups and downs. So you use it also as a therapy. It was a pivotal moment for the barn, for myself, my family. It changes everything. Winning at the highest level and play at the highest level. That's always the goal. We are a small barn, but I tell you that the Derby is what gets us going. I think I'm really good at identifying horses. I mean, it's been proven. This is the 5th time that we qualify a horse for the Derby, and we've only been here 10 years, my dad and I. And we take a lot of pride in that. You can be the Michael Jordan of training, but if you don't have the right horse, you're not going anywhere. When we went to sale, he put a really nice fast breeze, and he was more on the chubby side. He was a heavy guy. And the first thought that came to my mind, if he can do that, carrying all that, you know, I wonder what he's capable of when he tightens up a little bit. And as soon as we started breezing him up, you know, this horse wants to do something big.
The Puma, further ado, these two go on. Canaletto's between them. The Puma's in front late. The Puma wins the Tampa Bay Derby.
He's got a good mind. He's a very quiet horse. He follows the directions of the rider very well. Having a guy that is a Hall of Fame, we have a lot of confidence in him, and I know that he's got a lot of confidence in us too.
His running style is ideally to you know which race are we thinking of.
I know, and you've been here before. It might taste sweet the second time.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Naturally, you start to compare what other horses in the past have done. So we already have a profile of the horses that can make it to the Derby. And of course, the job is not finished, although we qualify already for the race. So every single day, we'll have to be in our A game, take the horse there in the best shape possible. My dad's been training horses for 50 years now. He's got a lot of experience, not only here in the States, but he's got a long career in Venezuela, where we're from. Some people call him crazy, but he's my kind of crazy, you know. I mean, I love my dad, and he's not only my dad, he's my best friend also. He's the best partner that you can have. Sharing this, it's a really good feeling. Nothing compares to that, honestly.
Well, I do appreciate how frequently they've run the Puma. I mean, this is going to be his 4th start, and it's not even the end of March right now, and he debuted in the early part of January. 21 days turning back from the Tampa Bay Derby. Maybe I'm misreading this. To me, this is sort of a means to an end.
Right.
Where, look, if they win this race, they'll be thrilled. Don't get me wrong. You make a stallion out of him. But given the quick turnaround, this at least buys you 5 weeks until the first Saturday in May, and you know you've already got your ticket punched.
And speaking of the ticket punch, when you look at the points he has and what he's accumulated from the Sam F. Davis and the Tampa Bay Derby, he has 56 points. Do they want to get a Grade 1 win? Absolutely. But it's also going to be a win for them. I think if they just have a top 3 showing, you didn't want to go into the Kentucky Derby, not ideal, off the layoff, that long of a layoff in the Tampa Bay Derby. You needed to go ahead and fill that gap. They just need a good run to get them 5 weeks down the road here.
Yeah, I don't want to call this a workout in the afternoon, but again, effectively, you want to get some experience and you want to get a good run from him. But I'm sure they don't want to squeeze the lemon dry. And if he just shows up with a good effort from off the pace, the Puma and the Connections will be thrilled with their chances headed into Louisville. Speaking of Louisville, the first Friday in May this year, we'll be running it under the lights, but it's the Kentucky Oaks, and there are Oaks points on the line earlier this afternoon in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. Let's take a look at that field, and it's a situation here, Joaquin, where the race just seemingly goes through She Be Smooth. If she repeats that most recent start, boy, she's going to be a handful for this group.
And that was a big performance in the Devona Dale because she sat closer to the pace when she broke her maiden first time out. Granted, the internal fractions were a little bit slower, but she was in a tracking roll, 3rd the first point of call, 2nd down the backstretch. She wins by 2, but she fell really far back. She was last down the backstretch. But boy, what a big move she made on the far turn. And the way she polished off that field, drew away and won by 6. That was a dynamite performance for just her 2nd career start.
You also have to factor in the second choice in the morning line is just to her inside and Prom Queen. They squared off on debut, and She Be Smooth beat her by 2 and change. So this race seemingly goes through She Be Smooth. For more on the Todd Pletcher trainee, let's check in with Anthony Pascal.
Coming to you today from Palm Beach Downs in South Florida, the winter headquarters for trainer Todd Pletcher. And man, is there an abundance of quality horse flesh in these barns right here, including this impressive filly, She Be Smooth. She is a perfect 2 for 2 and has been installed as the 7-5 morning line favorite for this year's Gulfstream Park Oaks, a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. She upset the field in the Devona Dale last month, closing from last to first.
But at 5-1, the Devona Dale Stakes goes to Todd Pletcher and Flavien Prat with She Be Smooth. Smooth indeed.
Did she surprise you a little bit? Because she went off decent prices in both her maiden race and in the Devona Dale.
I would say she's been this kind of the pleasant surprise for us this winter. You know, she's a real sweet filly to train. She's very honest. She didn't really show, you know, the kind of brilliance that some of them do. But I think because of her running style, wanting to drop back and make one run, you know, you don't really work horses that way in the mornings. The one thing she did do, and IRAD worked her before her debut, was she had a pretty good gate work, but we thought the way the race in the Devona Dale was shaping up, just to give her a chance to settle and make a run, I thought she did terrific.
Jockey Flavien Prat was aboard She Be Smooth for that win in the Devona Dale. He'll be back aboard on Saturday for the 56th running of the Gulfstream Park Oaks. It'll go off as race number 9 on a 14-race card. You can watch every single one of them live on FanDuel TV.
Well, we know Todd always has a strong hand in either of the 3-year-old divisions, but especially so this year in the filly division. Take a look. This is that jump that we saw from start 1 to start 2 for She Be Smooth. I would think for most trainers, most years, this would be the leading light in the barn. But Todd also has Zany.
Right.
So even if She Be Smooth runs a giant one here today, who knows, next Friday at Keeneland, if Zany runs off the screen, Zany might be flirting with odds on in the Oaks.
As far as this contender here, 7-5 morning line favorite in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. The top 2 finishers out of that maiden race on January 23rd were She Be Smooth and Prom Queen. The advantage for Prom Queen, at least today, to possibly turn the tables, she has that 2-turn experience now, whereas She Be Smooth does not. First time for her going around 2 turns.
And you heard from Todd in that piece with Anthony, the fact that She Be Smooth is one that kind of wants to drop out the back and make one run.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's overblown how disadvantageous that may be here at Gulfstream. People can close. You just need to have the right kind of race setup. It's still kind of a big ask, especially in a short field. I can't imagine Flavien wants her to drop way out the back down the backside.
The other part to it would be the short stretch.
Yes.
Because you're really going to have to get the ball rolling going into that far turn when you're dealing with this short stretch at 8.5 furlongs.
That goes as race number 9. It'll kick off the 20-cent Rainbow 6 here on this Florida Derby Saturday. That is the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Oaks. Big day of racing here in South Florida. Giant day of racing in Central Arkansas as well at Oaklawn Park. The Arkansas Derby is the main event. Renegade, speaking of Todd Pletcher, he'll be well represented with him. For more on the Arkansas Derby and the rest of the Arkansas Derby Day card, let's send it back to the FanDuel TV studios where we find Dubs Anderson and Dave Weaver.
Thank you, Matt. Dave, Dubs, plenty to be excited about here this afternoon. The big Grade 1 out at Oaklawn Park. 49, sunshine, and the form lines traditionally pretty strong out of this one of the first Saturday, Dave.
Todd Pletcher typically does not run horses towards the Kentucky Derby through Oaklawn Park. That's been a little bit different this year. He won the Rebel with Class President, and he's going to try to win the Arkansas Derby today with Renegade. Class President actually was his first win at Oaklawn Park since 2020. So he's trying something a little bit different this year, but he has the horse to beat, no doubt about it. Off that big win in the Sam F. Davis last time out, Renegade was absolutely giant from off the pace.
Not even a giant step forward could be enough to take this one out this afternoon. Maybe just a slight step, and Renegade should be the one to catch. The very promising colt coming in for Todd Pletcher in the team. You highlighted, Dave, what we saw in the Sam F. Davis, and from off the pace, an almighty closing kick, and it could play that way again this afternoon. But let's take a look at the chalk. The favourites falling short. The last 5 winners of the Arkansas Derby have not been your favourites. Sandman got the score.
Close. He was 7-2. Muth was 2-1. Angel of Empire was 9-2. So the higher part of 4-1. Cyberknife 5-1. So not like you're winning with 30-1 shots, but the Philly Secret Oath was 7-5 for the late Dwayne Lucas back in 2022 when losing to Cyberknife. I don't know if anybody even remembers Rocket Can. He was the favorite that didn't really go on to do a whole lot after that year's running of the Arkansas Derby. Timberlake, I remember, and Cornucopian last year coming out of that maiden 6-furlong blast sprint, stretched out and didn't do too well. Sandman did.
So when the favourites haven't fired, it's generally been second, third betting choice. As we take it back to this performance up the road at Tampa Bay. And for Renegade, this is what it's all about. Really just tries to stick close to the front markers, turns for home and says, see you later.
We have seen a lot of horses racing today in Dubai that Irad Ortiz Jr. had been riding, including Ben Tornado, who just finished second in the sprint. But he didn't go to Dubai because he wanted to stay around to ride Renegade in the Arkansas Derby.
And what does that tell us? Mayfield's Derby horse.
Correct.
Likes his chances aboard this 3-year-old. This is the field for the Arkansas Derby coming up this afternoon as race number 13 on the program, and it will be a part of the money back special here. The road to the Derby rolls on. You can get up to $20 back for second or third on 3 of the Derby preps coming up this afternoon. We do have 4 Derby preps this weekend, Dave. 2 of those being the internationals. You've been covering some of the action from Maidan bright and early here on a Saturday, and we get set for I guess one of the big names in the sport, Forever Young, coming back to the Dubai World Cup.
He was not able to win last year's Dubai World Cup, but he also was not able to win last year's Breeders' Cup Classic, or 2 years ago in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He came back and he was able to do that at Del Mar. Now he's trying to avenge his loss to Hit Show in last year's Dubai World Cup.
It just has this amazing ability to take that game on the road for Yoshida Yahagi. Always shows up and always runs a race. Forever Young sitting at 4 to 5 there as the top choice, and rightfully so. I tell you what, if you can get 4 to 5, you could make the argument not a bad price.
Well, you know, when he won the Saudi Cup last time out, he didn't quite have to work as hard as he did last year when he beat Romantic Warrior. I mean, that was a slugfest, and I think it zapped him a little bit when he came back and was just a little bit flat in the Dubai World Cup. I think with this race, taking a little bit of less starch out of him, he should be fresh and ready to take care of business today.
Forever Young looking to keep the streak alive, chasing 4 wins on the bounce. Forever Young, one of the biggest names in the sport, coming up in less than a couple of hours this afternoon at the Dubai World Cup. So you can watch all that right here on FanDuel TV as we get set up for a very, very big Saturday afternoon. Derby implications, plenty of points and plenty of dollars for some of the big names.
Huge day of racing. We already had 100 points on the line in the UAE Derby, which is earlier on the card. 3 races left in Dubai, and a great card coming up both from Gulfstream Park and the Arkansas Derby. But you got to sign up for that FanDuel Racing account so you can get involved and play along with us here. When you bet $50, our new customers will get $50 in a racing bonus.